Hi beautiful, my name is Shane and today I'm really excited because I went to Ulta and I was able to get my hands on Carli Babel's new BH Cosmetic palette. This is the deluxe edition. Literally the day I walked into Ulta is the day that it went out into stores, so I got it by pure luck. So I'm hoping to get this video out as quick as possible so maybe you can call your local Ulta. I'm honestly just so proud of her, not only for her original palette that she did with BH, but also for this brand new deluxe edition palette. So it's much bigger than the original. I really wish I had the original with me. I believe I had to throw it out though because I dropped it and it smashed, and by the time it broke, the other palette was already like out of stock. So I'm taking a quick look where my palettes are and I don't see it, so unfortunately I think I threw it out just because it kept making a big mess. So I was really happy to hear that she was coming out with a brand new one. So this is the cover, of course. It's just like her old one, so it has like the white quilted look to it. It says Carli Babel. She chose rose gold, which I can't remember if the text was in rose gold last time too, but I really like it against the white backdrop. It says deluxe edition. So in this palette we get 21 color eyeshadow and highlighter palette. So I'm gonna read the back really briefly. I'll put a time right here if you kind of want to skip ahead a little bit to actually getting into the palette. But it says this Carli Babel Deluxe Edition 21 color eyeshadow and highlight palette exudes the YouTube beauty maven's signature glam girl style. This palette features the 11 original shades plus 10 chic new shadows and highlighters in buttery blendable formulas with staying power. That's really cool. So I like how she included the original colors, so that way people like me who might have broken their palette, or just people who weren't able to get their hands on it at the time, are still able to do so. And not only do you get the original beautiful shadows, but you get brand new ones that she helped put together. So I went on Ulta.com really quick just to get the correct price for you guys, but it actually looks like her 14 color highlight and eyeshadow palette is still on Ulta.com for $14.50. So if you want to get your hands on it, it's there and it looks like you can buy it. But this one, I know it was originally cheaper, but the price went up after a little bit of time, but it's at $22.50, which I still think is really affordable, and I definitely think you're getting your money's worth because of how much eyeshadow you actually get. Let's go ahead and pull the slip off here. So it does come with the slip, and then it pulls up like this, and then you get So right off the bat, first of all, we do have the plastic protector piece, which I'm always just a fan of in eyeshadow palettes. I feel like it just keeps it very clean. I don't like taking them off. I try to keep it on as long as possible, but it's just taped up here, so you can keep the plastic on easily by just lifting up the bottom corners and lifting it up like that. And then when you're done, I just put it just like that to try to keep it as new as possible. Comes with a nice big mirror as well, and then underneath the mirror in rose gold it says aspire to inspire, which I also believe was in her original palette as well, but I love that quote. So I did have to do a little bit of research to figure out which shadows was in the original palette and what's new to this palette, since I didn't have the original to compare it with side by side. But it looks like this entire top row is actually brand new shadows. And the look that I'm using today actually uses, I think, oh my gosh, I actually think I used entirely the top row for today, which I'm just now realizing. So I used all brand new eyeshadows on my lids today. So these top 5, and then it looks like this one and this one was also from her original. I'm sorry, not from her original. These two are new shades as well. And then it looks like this golden highlight shade, this pink shade, and then this white shade are all new to this palette, but everything else came from the original. I'm sorry if I got any of that wrong. I try to do as much research as I can, and I believe I'm correct, but don't shoot me if I'm not. I just think the palette overall has such a pretty look to it. Like, even going into the store, it just looked so sophisticated sitting there on the counter. That's why I was like, said, oh my gosh, I know exactly whose palette that was. So I'm gonna talk a little bit more about how I liked the shadows, how I like the highlighting shades at the end of the tutorial. But I do want to say that I am so proud again of Carli, because not only does she put out these palettes, but I feel like she really sticks true to her. I feel like a lot of the times people get so excited about makeup brands wanting to work with them that they get a little bit carried away, and the product that they develop is more so what the company is trying to push out versus what the creator is trying to make and introduce to their fans. So I feel like both with the original and this palette, Carli really has done that, not only with the color selection, but I feel like she's actually taken the time to make sure that these are quality eyeshadows. I must say, again, I'm going to talk more about it, but these truly can compare to some really high-end eyeshadows. So that's saying a lot for a $23 palette, and look how much you get. So I just wanted to personally thank Carli for just staying true to herself and giving us and creating something that she really believes us as her subscribers would really enjoy. So with that said, you guys, let's go ahead and jump right into today's tutorial. So because I'm crunched a little bit this morning for time, I had already gone ahead and done my foundation, my concealer, my powder, and my brows. So right now we're gonna jump into the palette and start creating our eye look for today. Keeping in mind, I'm gonna be wearing like this peach shirt and then this maxi skirt that has like peach and hot pink in it. Just keeping that in the back of my mind while we're gonna do our makeup this morning. Let's go ahead and take a look at the palette. So I'm gonna go ahead and slide off this little slip here, and we'll open up this palette. So I'm gonna try to keep the plastic on for as long as I can. I just feel like it keeps your palette, like it kind of protects it a little bit. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and start off by taking this second shade on the top row on a flat shader brush and start packing this all over my lids. Now you may notice that I'm actually not using an eyeshadow primer. I really wanted to test today's palette with just having, you know, the foundation and the concealer on to see if the shadows were still really pigmented without that extra layer of a primer. And so far we're getting some pretty decent pigmentation out of these shadows. Alright, next I am going to take this very first shade here, and I'm actually going to take the duo-sided brush that came with my Heat palette, but taking the smaller, denser pencil brush side, I'm gonna pick a little bit of this up and sweep this back and forth in my crease. Then taking a fluffier crease brush, I'm gonna blend this out a little bit better. I apologize, my voice is so raspy. I'm filming really early in the morning, so I'm a little crunched on time, so that's why I skipped my whole face routine. But I'm definitely trying to push out more makeup tutorials. It's just really hard to find the time to do them. So maybe it'll work waking up early and filming. We'll see. Today is the first day. We're kind of giving it a test run. The only problem is my voice is very raspy, and most of the time my eyes are really watery. But today it's actually not bad. Now I will admit to you guys, I'm a little bit stumped. Oh, I forgot about this eye. Hang on. Now that we're back to matching eyes, what I was saying is I'm a little bit stumped. Because again, the look that I'm going for today was going to be very, very peachy, but I need to add a little bit more depth into this look because I only have two shadows going on. I mean, there's a really nice shade I found that I want to use like as my highlight, but I'm still trying to figure out a crease color. So I think I may just end up, I was gonna use this color to deepen it up, but I think it's still a little bit too light. And I think I kind of want to keep the look a little bit warmer. So I may be going into this top middle shadow here. I think that's what we're gonna try. And I'm gonna take the same little pencil brush and I'm gonna start working this into the outer V. I like to pull up ever so slightly on my eye to kind of give it a little bit more of a lifted look. So I'm just gonna wiggle the shadow right in there and make sure it's blending out. I feel like I'm losing a little bit of my lid color on the first shadow that we put on, so we're probably gonna have to go back. I mean, the matte shadows that I've used so far are really nice in pigmentation. They're blending out really easily and they're showing up well. But I feel like that first shimmery shadow, I don't know, I just wasn't, I think the color is beautiful. I don't think I'm super impressed by it yet. Maybe it's just early, so I'm delusional. But really quick, I'm gonna go into this other eye as well and add a little bit of that burnt brown shadow. I'm gonna try going back into this original shadow here for my lid, but I'm gonna put it on my finger this time to see if I get a different result. This time I'm just gonna pat it on. Okay, it's showing up a little bit more, so maybe with these like shimmery shadows, I should just use my finger. I do the same thing with my Huda palette, with the rose gold limited edition one. I found that the sparkle shadows in that palette apply better with your finger, so your finger just may be able to pick up a little bit more than the brush and then transfer it as well. Because now this color is definitely popping, which is what I wanted. Blending this peach shadow up into our crease a little bit so there was no like abrupt stop where the shadow starts and the shadow ends. It all just kind of melts into one another. And as I'm blending, I'm bringing it up higher in the inner crease than I am with the outer crease. In the outer crease, I'm kind of letting the other two shadows pop, while in the inner crease, we're getting a little more of this shimmer. As far as fallout goes, I know I used the lighter shadows in this palette so far, but I'm just getting a little bit and it's not bad at all. So I just wanted to make a quick note on that. Again, I haven't used the other darker shadows yet to say if this palette has a lot of fallout altogether, but based off of 3 so far, we're pretty good. So I bet you'd be pretty safe to do your full face of makeup if you're planning on using this palette, even if you're doing a dark look. That may be something that we can test because I'm definitely going to be looking into this palette more. So just keep your eyes out. Probably during, closer to the end of summer, I'll be starting to come out with some darker fall inspired looks, and we'll be revisiting this palette. There's a lot of colors in here I want to use, so definitely keep our eyes open when we do another look with this palette for any more fallout. But so far we're pretty good. For our highlight for our inner tear duct, I want to use this big pink shadow here. So I'm just going to take a small brush and I'm going to pack the shadow on my inner tear duct and a little bit on my bottom lash line as well. I'm even going to take a tiny bit, highlight my brow bones with that same shadow. Alright, so that is it for the top shadow. For the bottom shadow, let's figure out what we want to do real quick. Do I want to bring the shimmer down or do I want to keep the bottom matte? I think I kind of want to keep the bottom matte. So I think I'm just going to end up I want to keep this look quite simple actually, so anybody can really recreate it no matter what your skill level is with makeup, no matter how much you've practiced. I think this is rather achievable. So I'm going to grab this lighter shadow here, and I'm using the dome side of my Naked Smoky Duo brush. And I'm going to start sweeping this shadow on my lower lash line on the inner half. Oh my gosh, it's crazy to see my age catching up with me. I mean, I'm only 24, but it's crazy because like this is the age where I'm starting to see like fine lines. I'm actually... On a quick side note as well, I have white hair. For some reason, I'll get like these little white hairs in the front of my head, and I swear if I like grow a white streak of hair, I'll probably keep it. I'll look like Storm. Same thing, same brush, but this time I'm taking the second crease shadow that we use and I'm just gonna sweep it on the outer half of our lower lash line. And as like a little extra thing, I like to do this quite a bit with my shadows. I'm going to once again take this lighter shade on an angled brush and I'm just gonna make it come to a point in my inner tear duct. These wrinkles are getting in the way though. Ugh. So I think that is it today as far as the shadows go. So I'm going to throw on my liner real quick. and then I'll bring you guys back in just a moment. Now I'm gonna line my waterline, so I have two different options. I'm gonna go with the NYX Jumbo Eye Pencil in Milk. That's usually my go-to waterline. But if you want something a little subtler, I do have this NYX Wonder Pencil, which is like in a nude shade. Well, let's see actually what the nude shade will look like. If I want something a little more intense, I'll go over it with a white pencil. That's one eye done, and you can automatically see that it lightens everything up. I think I'm just gonna lighten up like the very inner corner of my waterline with a little bit of white, because I actually really do like this nude pencil. But just to brighten everything and open up my eyes a little bit more, I'm just adding this. Next, 2 coats of mascara using my telescopic in Carbon Black. While my lashes get tacky, I'm gonna quickly bronze up my face. For blush, I think I'm gonna do a combination of 2 of them. I think I'm gonna combine Milani's Luminoso with Tarte's Party, which Party is a little more pink than Luminoso is, but I think the combination of the 2 will be really pretty on the cheeks. For lashes, I'm using my Salon Perfects number 615. I have a double stacked pair, and now that they're tacky, I can pop those on. I know my lashes look a little crazy because they're not totally dried, but we're gonna move on to highlight because I don't know how long she's gonna be down. We'll go right back into our Carli Babel palette and take a look at our 4 highlighting shades. So I think on a fan brush, I'm gonna take a combination of the first 2 lightest shades, and I don't mind using like this pinky highlight, which you may be able to use as a blush. Maybe. It's a little bit frosty, so I'd probably just stick to the highlight. But, ooh. Okay. That's really pretty, actually. Whoa! I forgot how much was on my finger. Okay, that's crazy. Oh. No, that is a really, really nice highlight. I just don't like to highlight too much. Obviously, like I like it to, you know, as I move, it kind of shifts. But I just don't like adding too much highlight because I feel like it makes my skin look really textured. And then especially if I have breakout here, it just kind of lifts it all and says, hey, I'm a big old zit on her face. So I really like to keep my highlight quite natural looking. And I feel like with these highlights, that's what I'm getting, so I'm quite impressed. I haven't used my original Carli Babel palette in a long time, only because I dropped it and it smashed. But I can't remember fully the highlights, but I have a feeling that this palette is even better. I'm sure there were improvements done. I don't even know at the very moment. I'll probably get some information on it for you guys, but like what shadows are new. So I don't know if these 2 were original, but you guys at this point should know. This white one is like crazy pretty, but it almost has like, maybe I'm just nuts, but it looks blue. As I'm moving my nose, it looks like a purpley blue. That's not what I wanted. Let me try to save it a little bit with some pink. Or maybe it is. One of these 2 colors is setting off this crazy color on my nose. Alright, so that is actually it with the palette, you guys. I gotta figure out what I'm gonna be doing for lips, but I think the majority of my lip products are actually downstairs, so I may just have to, unless, hang on. Well, this is Aquarius though. Well, we'll try Aquarius by ColourPop, but it's like a gloss. Actually, it's quite pretty. It has that peachy hue. And it feels quite moisturizing, which my lips need that. I did do a lip scrub. Let's just stop here, guys. It looks like half my lip is missing. I did do a lip scrub last night, so they're very soft. Alright, I'm actually pretty happy with this lip color. I'm usually not like a gloss person, but this isn't like glossy. It's very creamy. But I may put like, when I go to work later today, I may put like a lip liner, a matte, and then this gloss over it so it has a little bit more of a long-lasting wear. But just for the sake of this video, I just want to show you what color that I would be sporting with this look. I could actually probably go ahead and blot a little bit. I feel like there may be a little bit too much product on. Okay, that's better. Alright, so I just covered up my lash band with my liner, and I am really happy with this look. The color is actually quite true to what I was going for today. I think it's gonna match my outfit really well, and I'm glad that we found a very flattering lip color to pair along with this. So I'm pretty pumped about the palette. So I'm gonna give you guys my final thoughts and opinions. We'll take a look at the final look together. So I'll see you guys in just a sec. So that's the end of my tutorial. Here is the completed look. My hair is done, my outfit's on. I must say, I don't quite remember my first reaction to the original Carli Babel palette. I know that I really did love it though, because when I dropped and smashed it, I was quite heartbroken because I knew I couldn't get my hands on it again. So that's why I was so grateful that I could get my hands on the original shadows plus some amazing new shadows. These shadows are seriously so creamy and so easily blendable. As I said in the introduction, I feel like these can definitely compare to some high-end products. You really get a bang for your buck. I mean, you get 4 or, I mean, even I would consider 6 highlights, and then you get 15 eyeshadows on top of that. I also feel like there's a nice variety between the mattes and the shimmers. Sometimes I'll get palettes where there's too much shimmers or too many mattes. I feel like really anything can kind of go together. I feel like it's almost 50-50 here. I mean, besides the highlighting shades, of course, which all have that shimmer, but I'm just more so talking about these single eyeshadows up here. You get, you know, a nice variety of the two finishes. I'm really excited though, because even though there are a lot of neutrals in this palette, they're neutrals I don't necessarily own in other palettes. I feel like it's definitely an original array of shadows. I love how I can also go from like a summer daytime look to a nighttime fall look, all with the same palette. I'm really excited to get into these like deeper plums a little bit later in the year, so I hope you guys ended up enjoying this video because I'm really excited to dive more into this palette, and I really hope you can try to get your hands on it. I'm gonna leave a link right down below to the Ulta.com website, so hopefully you can jump on and see if it's online. Even if it's not, I've done it before. I've called my Ulta and see if they had it in stock, and they will put it aside for you. Definitely think it's worth its money. I think it's an amazing palette. I think she knocked it out of the park again. So once again, congratulations, Carli. I am so proud to own your palette. So with that said, you guys, please go ahead and leave a thumbs up on my video if you did enjoy, and a little subscribe button is gonna pop on the screen if you want to go ahead and hit it. You won't miss another video. So I hope to see you guys in my next one. Bye!